Hey there. We have experienced a heat wave here in Southern California. It has been so hot. The temperatures have been over 100 degrees for many days in a row, and we've peaked out at over 110 degrees. In today's video, I'm going to get you updated on some of the impact the summer heat has had on the orchard. In some cases, we've got heat damage, burnt leaves, burnt fruit, and in other cases, the trees have done really well. So today I thought I'd do just a little bit of a walk and talk and just share some of those experiences that we have encountered as we have made it through the last heat wave of the summer here in Southern California in 2024. So today is going to be catching up on all the activities coming out of the heat wave in this orchard. We'll talk about that right now. Okay, let's take a look at the blackberries. I have two varieties. I have a triple crowned and a Primark Freedom. And let me show you what they're supposed to look like. Even that one. See that? See how it's one side is ripe and the other side is kind of burnt out? It's supposed to look like, look at that. That's what they're supposed to look like. The two on the left. Right, nice and beautiful. So let's pan up. And look at that. That's heat damage. That's all heat. That's all heat. And so the tree has not got enough water and enough resources to keep the entire tree healthy. Even look at the leaves. Some of the leaves you can see have a lot of sunburn. Look at these over here. Yeah, look at those leaves there. Look at that. That's all dried up. Not enough hydration to keep the vine, to sustain enough hydration to keep it healthy. And that is the impact of not getting enough water. All right, I want to show you something interesting with the loquat. This loquat tree, you can barely even see it. Nice, beautiful, healthy leaves. I think this is a sucker. It might even be, I have to take that out. But there's the main branch. Let me back up. You can see it's kind of covered with this tree here, this tree that's growing out of the ground. Now this tree is actually an offshoot of these trees over here, where the roots have gone underneath the ground and have shot up next to the loquat tree. And one of the things I've done is, since it's been so hot, I haven't worried about uncovering it. Let these trees kind of grow up, grow around it and shade it. But now we're at a point where we should be over the worst of the summer heat. And it's time to actually cut this down, because this loquat tree is going to be ready to flower very soon. Usually flowers around October. So that's about a month away. So it's time to give it its space and breathe. We let this tree grow up around it to protect it from the sun. And now it's done its job. We need to cut out the tree and let the loquat do its thing. And here's my other loquat tree. And the thing I want to point out here is that, like the other tree, look at the quality of the leaves. So it's really interesting. Some of your fruit trees are going to take on a lot of damage from the sun, but this loquat tree doesn't have hardly any damage to the leaves from the sun. The leaves look great. Could use a nice little wash, get some of this dust and powder off of it. But other than that, not a lot of browning, very green. They look to be in good shape. And with the loquat tree, they always tell you that they do very well in heat. They're susceptible to a lot of heat pressure when they're very young. So you have to baby it when it's a young tree. But once it starts getting to be about 10, 15 feet high or so, they actually hold up really well under the sun. And this is a perfect example of a tree and I water it about once every 4 or 5 days. So it doesn't need a lot of watering, and it holds up well, no sun protection whatsoever, gets a lot of sun, and yet and still the leaves look to be in great shape, and the tree's in great shape. All right, let's now take a look at the mango. Now the mango, I've given it sun protection on about 1/3 of the tree. This is facing south. That's south. And so it's not fully covering the tree. And that's the thing I want to share here, is that you don't have to have it fully cover the tree. The most important thing is that you have it covering the base and the core of the tree. And look at the leaves. The mango tree looks great. The water drains really well in this area. And I water it about once a week. Yeah, once a week at most. Even if the temperatures are over 100, it's only getting water about once a week. And so that's another thing just to be aware of, is to make sure that, just to be aware that different trees, different species, and even within the same species, depending upon their location in your orchard, will require a different amount of water. And it looks really good. And same with this apple tree. It's not covered, but what's similar is that I water it about once a week. And water it about once a week. No protection whatsoever. So here's an example, another example of a tree with no protection. Looking good. Has fruit on it. Granny Smith and a pink lady next to it. 2-in-1 planting. You see I'm watering it right now. Last time I watered this tree was about 8 days ago. So it went through the worst of our summer heat, and yet and still it is in really good condition. Leaves look great. The fruit looks great. And yeah, this tree is set up well to give us fruit somewhere around probably November. What's going on, Sahara? It's hot, isn't it? We are having a heat wave. You've been in the house all day. We're coming out now, it's starting to get a little cooler. And we're out getting a little bit of fresh air now that the temperatures are sub 100. Still in the low 90s. Still warm. We gotta make sure Sahara stays hydrated as well. And by the way, now is a great time to support the channel by liking, subscribing, sharing the content with your family and friends. We greatly appreciate the support. Now the passion fruit tree is doing really great. Holds up well to sun, pressure. Let me show you where the sun is. There's the sun. It is about 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Sun's about to go down, but it gets a lot of sun all day long. I water it maybe every 4 to 5 days. That's all it needs, and it holds up well. One of the cool things about passion fruit is that you find, hey buddy, you find little pieces of fruit there. Hey, how are you? You good? You find little pieces of fruit with this passion fruit is kind of going through, there's an ant on me. It's going through its last of its fruit, starting to drop fruit. You just kind of come out, and there's another passion fruit right there. Leave that out for a couple of days, and that will color up and be just fine. But yeah, great example of a tree that holds up well, doesn't require a lot of water. And then it also gives me fruit multiple times a year. Oh, there's another. Oh, that one's dried out. I see one down there that we missed. Look at that. All right, that's the passion fruit vine. The pomegranates tend to do really fine. They come from warm climates. They tend to do well under heat pressure. The one thing I do worry about is when it gets sustained over 105 degrees, you start seeing a little bit of the burn. See that? That's a little bit of burn on the fruit. Again, it's kind of important. Ooh, look at that one, that's diseased. We gotta get that off of there. Ants are on it. Look like they brought some aphids or something. So we gotta get that off of there. But for the most part, the fruit looks really healthy. Look at this cluster in the back. We're gonna knock this down. We're gonna wash this down, get these ants out off of the tree. Here's another pomegranate tree right next to it. Again, looks really good. Starting to get color. We're about a month away from pomegranate season here in Southern California. And we are in pretty good shape. We've got 4 trees. They're all producing fruit. They're all looking really well. And for the most part, are not having too much damage or impact from the sun and from this heat wave that we've just experienced. So the pomegranates are looking fairly good. Right, use your microclimates to your advantage. Here is a miracle berry tree that is in the midst of rubber trees and palm trees and all sorts of different tropical and other varieties of trees. And it's doing really well. Gets water about every 4 or 5 days. Maybe down to 3 when we're getting over 100. Oh, I think I spotted my first few. They're so hard to see when they're, look at that. My first few miracle berries for the season. And look, more flowers there. I think that's the formation. May not be flowers, I think that's the formation of fruit. I rarely see this tree. Yeah, look at that. It's formation of more fruit. So we're getting miracle berries. We're gonna have miracle berries very soon. I've been waiting for miracle berries all year actually. And we're finally starting to get this tree producing. But the point I was making is about how it's tucked in. There's, I don't know, maybe 100 trees close to it. It might not be an exaggeration. Definitely within about a 20-foot radius, there's at least 20 to 30 different plants. And you expand that radius a little bit, and we're quickly at about 100 in a fairly small area. But it creates a humid, cooler temperatures, perfect conditions for this tree and many other trees. So again, think about using, microclimates and clustering trees or putting them in the midst of other trees to protect them from the sun, particularly if you're in very warm areas. Let me show you some grapes that are doing well, but first some grapes that are struggling. This group of grapevines right here are getting getting blazed up a little bit from the heat. The leaves are dried out. Not all the leaves on the vine, but a lot of them are. And a lot of them have signs of damage on them. Once a leaf gets more than 50% damaged, that leaf is done. You might as well just pull it off. Let it try to grow back a new leaf. Let it turn over a new leaf, so to speak. But yeah, these leaves are getting quite a bit of pressure. See that? They're getting quite a bit of pressure from the sun. They're getting more sun exposure than grapes I have at other parts of the property. And then look at this grape. This is the razzmatazz. And it's looking pretty healthy. Back up a little bit and show you that the west side, where the sun sets, it's covered by this ornamental plant. And so it gets about maybe 6 good hours of direct sunlight, but a lot of afternoon shade. And that does really well for this plant, this grapevine, this razzmatazz, which is I believe it's a red grape. Look at the leaves. A little bit of some coloration here, and maybe a nutrition issue. We need to give it some more iron or some other mineral. But overall, it's looking pretty good. And again, that shows you the power of a microclimate. Look at this lychee tree here, this lychee. It is completely burnt up. This tree was hanging on. The leaves were somewhat green before the latest heat waves that hit us through the summer. This lychee might be dead. So even though we have it in a microclimate, as all these plants has this canopy around it, nice canopy of protection, it is still too much intensity from the sun and heat to this particular plant's liking. And I struggle quite a bit with, I have another lychee that died. So we're 0 for 2 with lychees growing in this climate. And look at this watermelon. The plant is looking pretty tattered. It's dried out, even though it's in a pot. It's in a grow bag, actually. And I've been watering it just about every day. I've been very consistent with keeping up with the pots, the plants in the pots. The fruit looks like it's okay. It looks like it's about ready to harvest. So we'll check that out. But the plant looks a little raggedy. But we are starting to get some more flowers. Looks like it wants to go through another cycle of fruiting. So that's that. There's that. That's good. That's the watermelon. We've harvested a couple, yellow petite, and this one is a sugar baby. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on the journey. Hope you got a lot out of today's video. And again, just appreciate you and everyone that joins me in just documenting the experience of growing out a fruit tree orchard, starting from scratch, building out in the backyard. And by the way, don't forget to comment. I respond to every single comment on the channel. And so don't forget to throw in your feedback and let me know your thoughts and any commentary that you have. Thank you all. We will see you next time. Take care.